Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. My name is Kai and without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into today's video. So today we are going to be doing some colorful chrome gel X nails, and this is one of the nail sets that I asked you guys which one I should do, and option 1 is the winner, so that is what we're going to be doing today. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump straight into the nail prep. As always, I like to make sure to sanitize my nail implements beforehand, and usually for this process, I just like to use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. Now, of course, as I always mention, you want to make sure that your nail tools are cleansed, that they're disinfected, and that they're sterilized. So those are all of the steps that I like to cover beforehand, just to make sure that I'm not transferring any bacteria onto the surface of my nails. And likewise, I'm going to be cleaning off my nails with some alcohol. Now to kick off the nail prep, as usual, I'm going to go in with my cuticle remover just to soften the skin around the eponychium and to make it a little bit easier for my cuticles to be pushed up with my cuticle pusher. This isn't a necessary product to use for your nails, but because the skin is softer, I can be a little bit more gentle and not risk hurting myself in the process. And of course, after letting that set for about 10 to 15 seconds, I'm going to go straight in with my cuticle pusher, making sure to hold it nice and parallel to my nail plate, and I'm going to work on pushing back the eponychium or the proximal nail fold while also scraping up the dead skin and any excess product from my last nail set. Next, I'm going to go in with my cuticle nippers, and for this process, I'm really going to be focusing on cutting back the proximal nail fold. I always mention this, and I feel like it's very important to mention, but this is not something that's mandatory to do for your manicures, and in my opinion, it's more of a cosmetic procedure and is really only necessary if you're into the aesthetic of cleaner looking cuticles. So if you personally don't find cutting back the proximal nail fold to be your forte, you can definitely just disregard this step and just focus on removing the cuticle from the nail plate. My nails are pretty much in shape and I don't really have too much to do here, so I'm going to be using the soft side of this glass nail file and I'm going to smooth things out just a little bit. And to close off the prepping stage for my natural nails, I'm going to go in with 2 coats of my Makartt Peel It Off base coat. Recently, I haven't been pairing this with any cuticle oil because I've been having some issues with these popping off very easily, and I really don't like that, especially once I move on to the shaping process. I don't want them popping off or lifting a little bit while I'm shaping them because it just doesn't really look that great, and I can easily remove these without having to use any cuticle oil. So from now on, I'm just going to go in with my peel off base coat by itself, and just for reference, both of these layers are going to be fully cured for about 60 seconds. So for today, we're not going to be doing any complicated extensions. I'm going to keep it simple, and we're going to be doing some gel nails. And the tips that I am using, I will make sure to link in my description box. I did get these from Shein, and these aren't necessarily 𝘊𝘮𝑥 nail tips, but I do like to use them for the 𝘊𝑥 method, if that makes any sense. So yes, they will be linked down below in my description. And of course, it's not an affiliate link. I'm not partnered with this brand, but it will be down below if you are looking for these. Now, because the inside surface of these nail tips is pretty smooth, I am going to be taking a little sanding band just to scuff up the area that will be attached to my nails. And of course, you don't have to go all the way down the entirety of the nail because that part's not going to be attached to the surface of your nails anyway. So yes, for this part, I really like to make sure to scuff the area completely, making sure that all of the shiny surface is completely removed, so that way I won't have any issues with lifting or air bubbles. Now, to attach these nails, I'm going to be doing something a little bit unorthodox, if that makes sense. I like to use a clear builder gel. Specifically, this is the one that I got from Model 1's, and I really do like the consistency and the thickness of this product, and I find that it does a pretty good job at getting these nail tips on there without having any issues with flooding. Now, these nail tips in specific do have a built-in apex, which is really convenient, but it does mean that I need to put an extra bit of builder gel onto the edge of my nail because I do want this area to be as filled in as possible. So I just like to place a little bit of extra gel onto the very edge of my nail, and then I go ahead and press it down and cure it under my mini lamp. So now that the extensions are on there, I'm going to work on sealing the cuticles and just blending everything a little bit nicer. The quote-unquote Gel X method that I use is not the proper way to do these nails, and typically nail techs will apply the nail tip slightly higher than the cuticle area, but I'm really not great at doing it that way, and in the times that I have tried it, it just doesn't really look that great to me. So for me, I like to place the tip as close to the cuticle as possible, and then I go back in with a ceramic bit to seal everything in. For this part, I'm not going to go too crazy. I don't want to start filing away at the entirety of the nail tip. I just want to thin it out very slightly towards the cuticle area. Afterwards, I'm going to go in with some tip cutters and just cut them down to my desired length. And to ensure that all of the nail art sticks properly, I'm going to go in with a mini buffer to remove the shine from the surface of these nail tips. And to close off the shaping, I'm going to file the edges of my nails using my 80/80 grit nail file from Pana. I did end up going for a more moon cut shape, and for that I usually like to hold the nail file at a slightly upwards angle, and this is going to help to give you that really nice curve. So now we're onto the nail art process, and this is the nail set that you guys voted for. I've been seeing this nail set a lot over the past couple of months, and at first I wasn't super interested in this nail set, but I literally just kept seeing the same nail set over and over again, and the more I saw it, the more I liked it. So I decided to go ahead and recreate it for today. I usually say this when I use a lot of colors, but you definitely do not have to use as many gel polishes as I use here. The reason that I pull out so many, which I think today I used about 9 different colors, but anyways, the reason I use so many is because I don't have regular colors. Like, I feel like I have really unique and not as common colors, and so I'm a pretty big mixer because I don't really want to buy any more gel polishes because I just have too many and I just want to use what colors I have for now. But anyways, the first thing that I went ahead and did was just wiped off my nails with a little bit of alcohol. And in case you're wondering why the surface of my nails is so shiny, I actually went in towards the cuticle area with a little bit of acetone just to create a smoother blend, and I don't really know if it worked that well, but I think it made a slight difference. So yeah. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is work on the base colors for these nails, and upon looking at this nail set, I was a little bit confused as to how they got the colorful chrome effect, and I quickly realized that instead of using actual colored chrome powders, they used iridescent chrome powders. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So because of that, we pretty much have to do all of the gradient and the aura using gel polish first. And so to start us off, I'm going to be doing a French tip on my pointer finger and my middle finger, and for that I'm going to be using this mint green gel polish. In the reference photo, I do think it's a bit more green, but I wasn't really too concerned with matching the colors perfectly, and I am sticking to the reference photo pretty closely in terms of the stylistic choices. So for my French tips, I kept it pretty low, and I just followed the C curve of my natural nails to create the French tip. So my other three nails aren't going to have the French tip, they're going to be fully painted. For my ring finger, it's going to be painted in this neon orange. And for my pinky nail and my thumb, it's going to be painted using this dark blue. And here's what things are looking like after I did a full 2 layers for all of the colors. And now we're going to move on to the airbrushing, and this is where things got really annoying, because if you've used an airbrush, then you know that in order to move on to the next color, you have to completely clean out the airbrush from the last color. So this was really annoying, I will say, and I had to do this with 6 different colors. Luckily for me, I only have to do one hand, but like, imagine doing this nail set on both hands. It's very, very annoying. But anyway, I'm going to start out by airbrushing some purple onto the French tip nails. And again, I wasn't too concerned with matching the colors perfectly, especially considering that I only had one reference photo to work off of. So I did have to do a lot of guesswork in terms of what exactly was happening. But even still, you definitely get the same vibe. And because I want the airbrush to be isolated onto the French tips, I'm going to use a cleanup brush and some alcohol and just remove it from the nude part of the French tip. And after getting that purple on there, I'm going to airbrush the tip of my pointer finger using some light pink. So now we're moving on to the ring finger, and I don't think that in the reference photo this nail is actually airbrushed, but I wanted to add some dimension and color variation to this nail, so I'm going to be airbrushing the right side of this nail with a yellow airbrush paint. For my pinky, I'm going to airbrush the majority of this nail using some orange. Now, because I am working on top of such a dark color, I did have to do this in 2 layers just to build up that opacity. So for my pinky nail and my thumbnail, that is something that I wanted to keep in mind, especially considering that I wanted these colors to really pop and stand out. So with the airbrushing done, it's now time to move on to the iridescent chrome powder. And before I actually got into the powders, I did top coat all of these nails with a layer of top coat. Now to start off, I actually just did one nail at a time because I didn't really know which chrome powder I wanted to use, but I ended up going for this chrome powder that shifted from blue to orange, which I felt like was perfect for this nail set. Although I will say that if you do end up recreating this nail set, I think that any iridescent chrome powder could work as long as it has some shifting abilities, if that makes sense. But either way, I did end up going for a blue/orange iridescent chrome powder. After settling on that chrome powder, I just did the same thing to the rest of my 4 nails. So next we're getting into this blooming gel, and I will say this part stressed me out. This was probably the most stressful part of this nail set. Reason being is because I do believe that in the reference photo, their blooming gel wasn't that bloomed, and my blooming gel kind of goes crazy. Like, she just spreads everywhere, and that really wasn't what I was going for, so I had to move very quickly. And also the croc print or just marble effect was layered with other colors on top of it, and I tried my best to do these in 1 layer, but I literally just could not. It looked so bad. So if you happen to be doing a design like this, I would recommend doing it in just 2 layers. Don't stress yourself out and try and do it in 1 because it's just not worth it. It doesn't look that good, and if you mess up, you're gonna have to do the entire thing all over again, which is just really annoying. I did end up having to do my ring finger over. I didn't show it, but yeah, it was stressing me out so bad. Either way, moral of the story, do this in 2 layers. And if you do feel like it's spreading too fast, I do believe that base coat is a pretty good alternative. It spreads a lot slower, but it doesn't spread nearly as fast as the regular blooming gel, obviously. So even though I didn't do it for this nail set and I can't really advocate for it completely, that might be something that you want to try. the gel portions of this nail set, I'm gonna go in with this chrome line art gel that I got from a cart a very long time ago. I decided to do this instead of using the powders because that would mean that I have to do a layer of matte top coat and then use the black gel polish, and that was just too much for me. I was not in the mood for that, so I just went with this instead. I usually don't use this product that much because I feel like it's not nearly as shiny, but I think because this nail set is already so shiny and there's a lot of reflective bits in this nail set, I wasn't too concerned with it being extremely chromed out. Like, I didn't really feel like that was necessary. So yeah, I'm just going in with some chrome detailing on 3 of these nails. I'm gonna be doing the sort of 90s sort of curved lines on the middle finger. And then for my pinky nail, I'm doing the Y2K sort of flame look that was popular maybe 3-4 years ago. For my thumbnail, I'm going to be doing a chrome outline with some dividing sections in the center of the nail. This is also a nail that I did probably a year ago, probably around this time, honestly. But I'm pretty much doing the same thing that I did in that nail set, except this was a little bit more tricky because the surface was pretty lumpy from the blooming gel. So did I have a hard time? Yes. And was it perfect? No. But was it good enough? Sure, why not? Which, speaking of, I feel like I've been changing my mindset a lot about nails and how perfect I'm able to get them. I feel like that's just really not great for me mentally, and I don't really think that it's a good way to grow. I've kind of been dialing back on my perfectionism, and yeah, I just wasn't going to be too concerned with how neat the lines were in this nail set, especially considering that once everything was pretty much done, you don't really need to focus too much on all of the details. I'm going to be moving on to some of the 3D work for this nail set. Now, the main attraction is going to be the flower on the ring finger, and for that I'm going to be using this white sculpting gel that I have been using in a lot of my summer nail sets. Actually, I've been using these clays so much, and this is another product that I try to have linked below in case you guys are looking for it. Again, not sponsored or affiliated. And I've pretty much been doing the same thing for these flowers in all of my videos, so I kind of sped through this process a little bit. It's very simple though. I just like to take a small ball and I flatten it onto the nail in the shape of a petal, and because these flowers are pretty simple, I'm not going to be doing too much pulling or creating frills and detailing because it just really does not need that. It's really not that deep. But yes, because these clays are pretty stiff, I was able to do this in 2 rounds. So I did 1 round of 3 petals and then 1 round of 2, and in between each round I just cured that with my UV lamp. Once I was done curing on those petals, I did go in with some detailing using some pink gel polish. close off the 3D work for this nail set using some rhinestone glue. This is again another thing that I've been doing in pretty much all of my nail sets. So again, I kind of sped through this part, but I'm going to be taking some rhinestone glue and a long liner brush to draw these 3D swirls onto my pointer finger and my middle finger. I like to use a long liner brush for this because I feel like it tapers off very nicely. Recently, I've been really enjoying squeezing the rhinestone glue onto the brush rather than squeezing it onto the plate and picking it up that way. I just feel like for me, it allows me to get similarly sized beads, and it also prevents me from wasting so much rhinestone glue. And for my thumbnail, I did just go in with 2 small beads directly onto those center lines. And I did have to move very quickly here because I want these to keep their height. And now that all of the nail art is done, we're going to close off these nails with a layer of top coat. Before I cure, I always like to make sure to wipe down the sides. And I'm curing everything for a full 60 seconds. So these nails are all done, and here's what they are looking like. And of course, I just went in with a couple of silver rings. And now I'm gonna finish off this nail set with a little bit of cuticle oil. And that completes today's set. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this one. I will say, I'm gonna be so honest, I think I definitely slept on this nail set a little bit. I was really hoping for option 2 to win because I really wanted to do that papaya nail, and I might end up still doing that nail set depending on if I have time to do more summer nail sets before the fall begins. But this nail set definitely grew on me, and I really like it. Now, of course, it's not exactly like the reference photo, which I wasn't really going for, but this is one of those nail sets that I really enjoy because you you can look at it and tell exactly what I was referencing when I did these nails. And I think that that's so cool. So you guys let me know what you think of this one in the comments. Okay, so scale time, of course. If I were to put these nails on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give these nails a 9.5. I'm being kind of picky here, okay? And I did mention that I'm trying not to be a perfectionist, but I really do wish that I could have done the blooming gel a little bit better. I think that the secondary layer of gel polish on top of the first one is kind of odd on some of the nails, and a part of me likes it, but a part of me does not. Like, it kind of gives me 70s vibes for some reason. I don't know why. And again, I kind of like it, but also that's not really what I was going for, but I kind of like it. So I don't really know. So yeah, 9 out of 5 for this one. I am cutting it very, very close to the end of fall, and hopefully I can still do option 2 next week, but I don't know. I feel like we're getting really, really close to September, and it's still going to be technically summer, but for me, it's already over, so I don't know. Let me know if option 2 is something that you guys would want to see from me. But yes, I had a lot of fun with this nail set, and I just love how colorful it is. I've been doing a lot of colorful nail sets recently, and it just makes me feel good inside. I don't know. But yes, that is all that I have for you guys today. As always, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you guys in the next one.